Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter.
Okay, we are on. Welcome, everybody, to TV Skywriter. I'm Pat Murray, your host, or I should say Patricia A. Murray, since that's the name of my YouTube channel. So welcome. This is where I introduce you to musicians and writers and other creative people who deserve wider recognition. So today we have 2/3 of the group, the RockTronix, from near Atlanta, right? Not really Atlanta, but
that's right.
Okay. So we have, so on the left, well, my left, your right, I'm not sure. But anyway, on the screen left is Wayne Vire, drummer. And on the right is Joseph Patrick Moore, bassist.
Hello.
Happy to have you. And missing in action is Chris Blackwell. He's your guitarist, right?
That's right. And we just wanted to start off the show and say, we're sending our prayers for Chris and his family. Just to let the viewers know, Chris is the guitar player in the RockTronix, and his uncle passed away late last night. His uncle was basically his mentor and obviously one of his best friends, and kind of took the role of his father when his father passed away at a young age. So it's a real devastation for Chris. It just happened, and so it kind of threw this whole thing into whatever. So anyway, we just want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Chris.
Most definitely. Yeah. Now, some people might recognize you, Joseph. Those of us in Durham, I know you're recognized all over the world, but as far as Durhamites, you were on TV Skywriter, last year or so.
Yep.
You're talking about Blue Canoe Records, so you are the president, and that is known as a jazz label. But it looks like you're spreading out there a little bit, stretching out with RockTronix. So tell us about your group, RockTronix.
Well, the RockTronix is kind of what the name implies. Let me just say the Blue Canoe Records, since you brought up, is primarily known as a jazz record label. And 75% of the artists, it's strictly jazz. And that's everything on the umbrella of jazz, straight ahead, smooth, big band, all that. Started in 2003, 29 artists, 51 releases. And so fast forward to about 2 years ago, I was invited to play NAMM, which is kind of National Association of Music Merchants in Nashville, at an event called the Bass Bash. And got a bass player there named Roy Vogt in Nashville was kind enough to invite us. So I got Wayne and Chris. We had such a great time. We were like, hey, man, why don't we just form a group? Yeah. So we decided to basically start from fresh. I mean, at that event, we were playing some of my music and just some cover songs and stuff like that. But we had such a great time. We were like, let's just start from the ground up and start playing music that we actually grew up on, which was stuff like The Police, Led Zeppelin. I mean, just more like in a rock sense. So all that to say to your question about Blue Canoe, it is definitely a departure from the traditional Blue Canoe sense of how the label's gone. But so anyway, the names is RockTronix, and we are rock mixed with electronica. So Wayne here can tell you more about it. He does a lot of electronic stuff behind the drum kit. So even though it's a guitar trio, there's a lot of electronic elements going on. So it's very sounds more current than just like your average rock trio, I guess.
Yeah, we use some loops, like backing, like atmospheric stuff. Some stuff we trigger on the fly as another instrument.
How do you do that?
We use devices like actually.
You got it handy.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
These little devices like launchpad minis, or little keyboards, and you can assign different functions to it, such as like to fire this one sound maybe, or maybe fire this loop, or maybe fire this part of the tune or whatever. You can set it up pretty much however you want to do it.
And I should say that Wayne's playing drums and going, bah, bah, bah. You're like hitting these things as we're playing in real time. So it's kind of a sight to behold over here. He's like the brains. He's the quarterback of the band. So
now hold that up again. I have never seen anything like that.
All right.
You might get it closer to the camera. Now the lights will go out.
Yeah, right. That's all right. All right. So the device, this is like a tiny little device with 64 pads on it. Okay.
Huh.
So each one you can assign a sound, a part of a song, anything you want. DJ is a lot of DJ equipment actually. It started out with DJs.
Okay, now
adding in parts of tunes and stuff.
So connected to? I mean, where does the sound emanate from?
So we use what's called Ableton software. And again, it's a DJ software originally. And I wish I'd have to pull it up maybe.
So he has a laptop. And
Yeah.
So it's connected to a laptop with Ableton, which has a lot of internal
Right.
sound.
And we have all kinds of things loaded in there that we could just pull out of wherever, whatever we want it to be. And sometimes we just set up a mood before a tune.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I said, it's a loop that's going the whole time. We may break completely apart and just go into Zambiland.
Zambi, yeah.
And just so anyway, yeah. But use these devices right here to trigger it, and you can assign it however you want it to work for you.
So you have to memorize the sound for each button.
Kind of, yes, I should. There's a screen too, so you can see everything. Like on the laptop, I can see there's a basically there's like a grid and everything is there. And if I label it smart enough, then I can see how it all relates. But
sometimes it's just fun to just
sometimes exactly just hit one and see what happens.
Yeah.
Improv.
Yeah, there's a little bit of improv going on with the band for sure.
Yeah.
There's jazz elements.
That's right.
a little bit.
Okay. So only you have access to that, Wayne, or Joseph, can you run over there and poke at it or what?
Well, I do my little station, but see, Joseph's telling a story. He's got pedals that do the same thing. So he is actually also able to fire off things that he wants when he wants.
So that's what we're hopefully the future of the group that we're trying to work towards is where we're all doing the same thing. So I actually have the same type of thing, but I control it with my feet. And it's a pedal made by Keith McMillan. And it's the same concept. It's like 0 through 9, and I hit a button with my foot, and it triggers whatever that is assigned to. So I can be playing bass and then just hit some crazy whatever, you know. And
so a lot of prep, you know. You got to know. You at least have to have an idea of what you want to do with it, and then you have to get it all set up. And then it may not work. We're still figuring that part of it out, even with each other, like not to step on each other's toes and who's doing what when. And the other thing is,
if you both go for a sound at the same time, you might have clashing.
Right. Exactly. Now, also, what's interesting about that software is, in which we haven't gotten this far, but
we're going to.
It triggers lighting, so you can set up certain light effects for certain parts of the tune or certain whatever. And I mean, it's pretty amazing, and it's a new territory for me. I've just been obviously a drummer and percussionist for a long time, and so it's brand new. So it's kind of like being 16 again and just working around with something I have no idea about until you figure it out. You know, so that part of it's really fun.
I'm going to sound like an old fogey, but I remember the days when we used to marvel at Jean-Luc Ponty doing the, let's see, I forget the term, but he had something that he would click on with his foot, and it was, I think he called it a loop or a delay or something.
Yeah.
So in other words, he would be accompanying himself.
Right, a looper.
Yep.
We use those too, actually.
Okay, because that was like, whoa.
Yeah, those are cool. Chris has got one, and I have one too, so we can loop like a 2 or 4 bar phrase in real time, and then stop playing, and it's playing, and then we're free to then kind of add on top of it. So
part of that with 3, because you know when we made the record and it turned out we were like, wow, there's a lot of parts on here, and there's only 3 of us. You know, so it was like, well, hey, let's try and do it. You know,
when I listened to your CD, I actually thought that you had simply gone back to the studio with lots of overdubs or something.
We did, but live we actually pull some of that off a little bit more than you would think.
That's what we were like, oh, we have to be able to recreate this to some degree live. So what are we going to do? Hire more people that we can't afford? It's like, nah, let's just try and do it. Let's see if we can make it happen. So
yeah,
that's it. Because I've seen the Police have people in the background doing little
absolutely
while they were in concert.
Well, they had
they can afford it.
Pendarvis, Linda, I can't remember her first name. I forget. Pendarvis, Janice Pendarvis, the one of the background singers, was with the Police forever. And I always remember seeing the 3 background singers.
Yeah,
with them, but. Anyway.
And then Leon, I don't know. Are they related?
I think they are. I think they're sisters.
Married brothers?
Something like that. Anyway.
Tangent.
So as far as Blue Canoe then, are you looking for other bands that have your style to join? Blue Canoe, or are you just experimenting to see if it catches on before you really go all out looking for other bands that play? I
It's
don't know what kind of rock it's called. What is it called?
I don't even. It's definitely more progressive, experimental art, prog rock.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, jam bandy.
What's interesting about it is like diehard rock people might not think it's as rocking as we think it is. Jazz guys are like, dude, this isn't jazz.
Right.
Electronic people are like, this isn't electronica. It's kind of everything that it is. It also isn't. If you're going to be a purist about it. So
good answer. That's right.
I don't know. You know, that's part of figuring out the audience. You know, who likes it, who's attracted to it, who's interested in it. Who gets it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm about 15 or 13, whatever years older than you, 59. And I think that when I listen to your CD, it kind of addresses the kind of, it appeals to me. I mean, I grew up enjoying Yes and King Crimson. I know you mentioned the Police. I love the Police. When it came out, I was in college. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, that type of rock, I didn't even know what it was called back then, progressive or whatever, it's come and gone, and I'm still kind of dissatisfied. I was waiting for somebody like you to come along, because even when I'm DJing, I'm still playing that music. I'm playing Stanley Clarke and you know, King Crimson and all that, and people are running up to me. They're like, "Oh my God, Black Sabbath!"
Well, you know, there's an audience out there, and I believe a lot of that music's really proven the test of time. You know, I mean, a lot of that's now 30, 40 years old. It's hard to imagine some of that, you know. But to get back to your question about the Blue Canoe and are there more rock art, you know, artists on the label, or is Blue Canoe signing more artists? I would just say that short answer is probably no. I feel like the label right now has its hands full with just trying to manage 29 artists. We've kind of gotten to a point where basically the only future releases we're putting out are people that are already pre-existing on the label. So I know one of the artists, Bill Hart, is a jazz guitar player, great guitar player, teaches at Atlanta Institute of Music here in Atlanta. He's got a new CD coming out. Ron Westray, who plays with Wynton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center Jazz Band, has got several new projects already in the can. We're trying to get out, one of which is experimental hip-hop jazz, which is going to be kind of interesting. So that's kind of where that's at. If the RockTronix were to take off and some other things unfolded, then we might explore, you know, more artists on Blue Canoe. But at this point in time, we're good. I got my old Frank Willis is pretty busy over there.
Yeah, that's right.
Frank's busy.
Busy man.
So when it comes to your looking, you know, for venues to play at, are you looking for jazz, more jazzy? Because to me, my ears tell me that even though you're playing rock, I'm still appreciating it even as a jazz fan, because you're not just playing the simple triad chords. I mean, it sounds very challenging, which I enjoy. So I think jazzers maybe in my age category might really go for it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I'll just say, I'll let you comment on this. I would just say that the whole goal of this was to take chances, and that's the one thing about jazz, you know, is just taking chances and not being afraid to fail, you know. And sometimes if you're a jazz artist, you take a solo some nights and it's amazing, and sometimes you take chances and you don't really end up where you want to. And I think musically, in terms of just what we're trying to do with this rock electronica thing, is there's definitely those jazz elements sprinkled in there. And so we definitely have all taken chances musically, harmonically, and we'll all trust each other and go places that I think your typical rock band would never probably adventure to. But
yeah,
what do you think?
About the audience, you know, we've talked about that a bunch, trying to figure out, you know, just to get rolling, like, who do we target? Like you're saying, like I said earlier, like going into a jazz club, it might not be quite as well received. And then vice versa, a rock club, instrumental music, you got to have a singer, it seems like now. It's like instrumental music doesn't fly in that venue. You know? So we were thinking like jam, you know, the jam band area? Like,
yeah.
Oh, like Martin Medeski Wood, John
Yeah,
Scofield.
it's kind of like that gray area where people just appreciate
good music,
different stuff, and good music, and
not afraid to hear people take chances.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the initial target, but we're of course open to anything. And you saying that you think that the jazz crowd would appreciate it is that's
great to hear.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I think it would be the jazz crowd that grew up listening to, like I said, Yes, and
Right.
Oh, what's that other group?
We mentioned Weather Report or like
Weather Report, Jaco Pastorius, and different incarnations of Herbie Hancock. And,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for saying that. That's cool. Good to hear.
That's awesome.
Now, I was recently approached by an artist, a visual artist, who he was approaching me as a DJ. Okay, he wants to do live art in response to the various types of music that I play as a DJ. Because I don't play, top 10 stuff. I'd like to play more talented music. So that'd be something we could consider. Working with a live artist who is putting on a show responding to your music.
That would be amazing. There was
I'm gonna think of the artist.
Yeah, while he thinks about something, I want to mention something. Back in basically 1997 to 2000, I played with an Atlanta guy named Colonel Bruce Hampton, who's kind of known around the South, the Aquarium Rescue Unit and others. But the band was called the Fiji Mariners. After that, I did this band called Blue Ground Undergrass, which was like a hippie bluegrass band, but it was electrified with drums, and it was definitely not. Anyway, so we went around the country and did these shows, and there was this one cat, and you can look him up. His name's Scramble Campbell. And Scramble Campbell is a visual.
Love it.
No, the guy's amazing. He's a visual artist, and so he would set up a gigantic canvas on the side of the stage. And when you would start your set, say you had a 45-minute set, you would start your show, and then he's like a blank canvas going to town during your performance. And by the end of your performance, there's this masterpiece painting. And it's like, I mean, the guy, you just have to look him up. He's got all his work there. He's done Bella Fleck, Sam Bush, like all these incredible artists. He's got all his artwork for sale. And he's really kind of become like this kind of underground, but he's very, I don't know what the right word is, well, popular, but his artwork has just really gone much.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, to answer your question, I mean, I love that stuff.
Awesome.
I mean, because that's like in the moment, in the now, like you're really capturing, you're bringing everybody on board and capturing a real moment,
Mm-hmm. Because personally, it's hard for me to this is just a personal thing. I mean, whatever. I tend not to like to just sit at a concert. I prefer to either be doing something myself, like making a craft or something, or watching, or having something else to look at besides the musicians. No offense. I mean,
no, I get it.
I love to watch the musicians play, and I'm a fledgling guitar player, so naturally I like to sit like this and try to figure out what he's doing. But I also like to have another visual element in there as well.
Absolutely. That's an awesome point, and that would be something we should really consider on that.
Yeah, there's that dude. Remember Ricky?
Yeah,
he was telling us about that.
The Green Man, Ricky.
Yeah, there's I'll think of it before the end of the interview, but it's unbelievable, man. It's the DJ who DJ's up on stage, and then the visual guy is out where the front of house is, and he's got a huge projector, and he does like computer animation kind of visual stuff on the fly that relates to what that DJ is doing, and he's like projecting it on the DJ.
Oh, wow.
And it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is amazing.
Well, I like that.
Well, it's all about your senses. Obviously, music's something that you hear. Visually, you're watching the band. But if you had more of the lights and the presence, or somebody doing art or dance or some, other elements going on, you're really approaching on all your senses.
Yeah. And with no vocals, there's room for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That'd be a really cool element.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, we're going to take that up.
That's
Cool. Now, because Jazz Festival season's pretty much over.
Yeah.
But and I mean the outdoor ones. Some people complain about it, but not all of the acts are necessarily jazz. Sometimes they do cross over into other areas. Do you find yourself looking for those types of festivals to participate in, since your music is more pleasingly challenging?
Absolutely. And that's the one thing, I know a lot of jazz purists are really kind of at this point very upset about how that whole thing's gone, because like somebody will have a jazz festival and there'll really be no jazz artists on the festival. And I understand it and I get it, but at the same time, I also see the side of the promoter, and they have to make money and sell tickets. So it's kind of like, it's one of those things. I wish there were more jazz artists, really. I mean, that's for starters.
Yeah.
That's definitely lackluster, and the ones that they do have are really questionable if they're really true jazz artists or not. But that's really neither here nor there. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
that's another open crowd who's there to see something different, something new, and a lot of variety. So
cool. I mean, not everybody wants to hear just the straight 4/4 jazz. I mean, I love it, but sometimes
I think the idea of a festival, to me, I mean, maybe this is just me. I don't tell you your thoughts on it, but I like the idea when you go, if you're going to a show like Yes or somebody, you're going to see a very specific thing. But if you're going to a festival, it would be nice to have a festival really represent so many different styles of music. And I can think of one that I actually played the Montreux Jazz Festival in Canada back in 2008. I played with Chris Duarte, and I was amazed at like all these stages that were timed out. When you would finish your set, they would start immediately, and they would start over there.
Wow.
It was reggae, it was jazz, it was rock, it was blues. I mean, it was just like you were like hearing everything, and so well done.
I would enjoy that.
Switzerland, yeah.
That's the one I did that one.
You did
Same,
that?
yeah, but the same deal. It was like weeks of just unbelievable variety, and everybody was killing at what they did. So outside, inside, yeah, that'd be fantastic. It's just getting in touch with those.
That's been a struggle.
Man,
That's
tough.
been a struggle. Yeah.
People aren't as willing to take the risk, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd like to ask you how you're marketing RockTronix, because I know back when I was in college, the thing to do was if you came out with a new CD, album, whatever, you send it to the college station. And I don't know if it's changed or not. I'm not in the business. How are CDs, new music, marketed nowadays when it's not traditionally like, the top 10, top 40, whatever you call that kind of music?
Wayne?
You're the guy for that, not me.
It's constantly changing. I mean, honestly, if you go back and look, we had 8-track tapes, we had analog, we had cassette tapes, we had DAT tapes, we had LPs, we had ADATs, we had DATs, we had Blu-rays, we had CDs, and now there's this invisible thing that's it's just invisible, but yet you somehow download it and hear it. So it's really, the whole marketing thing's just constantly changed. It's kind of like a dog chasing his tail. It's like constantly going around and around trying to figure out the best way to market.
Wow.
Market it. It's challenging, and especially now more than ever. I mean, honestly, not to be a downer, but I mean, so much of the music now is available for free, and as a music fan, it's great, but as an artist, it's really just awful. Like Spotify, YouTube's now, you can listen to all CDs on YouTube, Google Play, Apple Music's now doing it.
I have to admit, I haven't quite caught up with Spotify and what's the other ones? Apple Music.
There's Apple Music, Google Play, one called RDIO, which I actually like a lot, Deezer, which is big in Europe. There's a bunch of them, but basically you can listen to 30 million albums for free.
Okay, but don't you guys get paid? You don't get paid at all?
Yes, but one spin is equivalent to 0.0001 of a penny. You have to have 100 spins, 100 people listening to one of your songs to basically make 1 cent. Now, if those 100 people actually bought your song, that's almost $90. So I like the concept, but there's a real disconnect with the writers and the publishers and the labels and the artists getting treated fairly. And so that's a big challenge. So it's like, it's so hard to promote stuff now. and to do all this stuff when, you know, people can just go get this stuff for free. And I'm not against it. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It's just the reality. It's the new reality. Like I said, how the progression of the music has gone from, you know, 8-track tapes to where we are now. It's a natural progression, but on a marketing level, to your question, it's just trying to figure that out. And I honestly don't have the answer. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yes, you used to try and sell records and make money on the record, and now you have to give the records away for people to find out who you are. Hopefully, you know what I mean? It's
well,
like
what about at your concerts? Don't artists still do that? Sell the CDs at their concerts?
yes, if people buy them, but I mean, that's very generous people or people that haven't caught up, I guess.
I think Wayne's onto something, though. I think that's kind of the new paradigm now. And a lot of bands are doing it. You know, YouTube is the biggest thing that kind of did it. You know, obviously one of the biggest bands in the world that did it. But I know Maroon 5's done this. Basically, the concept is you make a record, you give it away for free to get fans to come to your show.
Right.
And then you sell merchandise like T-shirts and hats, and that's where you make your money. So on a marketing level, that's basically the business now. You want to get people to your show to buy merchandise. And maybe they buy a T-shirt, you actually get a CD with it. But it's no longer the CD is the item anymore. That's almost like the audio business card. Here you go for free. But the problem is a trickle-down effect of how many people it affects in the process. You got studios, engineers, mastering engineers, you know, microphone makers, preamp. I mean, if you really break it down, it's actually terrifying what it's doing to the business. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, but
get so down, man.
I know. What am I doing?
We're talking shop here. But here's the thing. Okay, I'm from Chicago, and I grew up being, you know, used to having all the top acts always come to town, right and left, rock, jazz, whatever. I'm in Durham now, and now when George Benson comes to town, it's like, oh my God, George Benson's here. And it's like, we get passed up by a lot of acts because Durham is not Chicago or New York or LA. Yeah. So if you're relying on playing live, don't you miss a lot of cities? Because I mean, Durham is a city of what, 200,000, but we're still not, you know.
Mr. North Carolina, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think if you're playing live music, you can't afford to not go to as many places as possible, because that's where playing live is where the money's coming in versus records.
Oh, so you do play the smaller cities too?
Yeah, I think you have to now. Certain artists that have grandfathered in past all of this, you know, the huge names, they obviously do their major city tours and they make whatever they make. But I think anybody that's trying to make a living now, and especially if you're starting out now, you kind of have to play everywhere.
Yeah, and I think too, it's making that connection with the audience and trying to build your fan base, because that's typically how you're going to do it now, is to get in front of people live and actually play, which is something that no one can ever take away. No matter how the business change, you know, no one can ever take away if you can play your instrument right. You can't hide, you can't lie, and you can't hide behind that, you know.
Yeah. I had to ask you that because very often when I am looking at the schedules of some, you know, a lot of these top acts that are on tour, very often, in fact, most often, they skip over my area. Because I guess we're in between Atlanta and DC in terms of, I guess, the amount of time it takes to get from one city to the next. And very often we are skipped over. And I didn't grow up feeling that sense of indignation, I guess, and being passed over growing up in Chicago. So I am shocked at that. So I had to ask you that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a big shock for you to go from Chicago to Durham, because I know obviously Chicago is one of the major, probably 5 cities in America. So
yeah,
but the Durham's a great place. I love it.
Wonderful. Oh, don't get me wrong.
It's a cool artsy town, you know.
Very much.
I want to ask you this: have you studied the Japanese music distribution model? Because I was reading that Japan is the only country of the huge nations, progressive nations, whatever, that are still selling CDs in huge numbers. And actually the sale of CDs is still surpassing downloads because of the way they market the CDs and serve their fans. Have you read about that at all?
Well, I've read about it, but actually I have kind of a little bit of firsthand on that. I was in Japan in April, and I was also in Japan the last 2 years. Like the last 3 years I've been there, and that is a very true statement. Japan is the only country left on the planet that sells CDs, physical CDs, more than downloads. Now it's definitely going. It's definitely going to change. I mean, it's definitely going the other direction. I mean, eventually downloads are going to surpass. But right now, physical is here and digital is here. So, and I don't know. It's just something in the culture and the DNA there. I know we went to Tower Records and some of the a couple other big stores, like the names HMV, some of the real big ones in Tokyo, and it's an event. I mean, you're talking about a skyscraper, and every level of the store is a different genre of music, and it's just packed with 18-year-olds to 60-year-olds, and it's just an event. You see the kids. I spent time in the store when I was there, actually, checking on some Blue Canoe things, actually, and people are really like engaged, looking at the stuff, and I don't know. It's just I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what they're doing marketing wise, but I think it's just something in the culture that's. There's a respect there. I think there's something about a respect factor of art in general. I think that might get glanced over here by most Americans. And that sounds really probably bad, but I think it's true. You know, I think it's just
also they're so far away that they feel really excited when somebody takes the time to come see them.
That's a great point. No, that's very true. Yeah, yeah.
But another thing they do, though, the reason why I was asking you is, for example, there will be a pop group, okay? And suppose they have maybe 3 singles. These groups are able to sell singles to their fans, and then they'll go out and buy the CD anyway. And I think what they do, they add value. That's why I was asking if you had checked it out. Because with every purchase of a CD, whether it's a single or the whole CD or whatever, they're including extras.
Mm-hmm.
So the fans, they really engage the fans. So you might buy a CD, and then you know that you are going to be one of the few people who will be able to have maybe lunch. And lunch might be lunch with 800 people, not, not sitting at the table with the artist. But you get like meet and greets, T-shirts, posters. There's always something. They never just sell the CD. There's always something extra in there. And at least for now, that's why I think CDs are still surpassing. Because with downloads, you just get the song.
Right.
That's unsatisfying if you know that your friend over here bought the CD and got to shake hands with the guy.
Absolutely.
Right. That's true.
That's that experience that you can't take away. And I think you're exactly right. There is more of that sense of one-on-one appreciation for the artist, but also the artist appreciating the fan more in Japan. And I think there probably is a little more smarter strategy going on there, like you just described.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think you could use some of those practices here in the States?
I'm sorry? No. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, well, Blaine just brought something up. I did want to mention. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
So back in April, Blue Canoe Records, which I mentioned earlier, started in 2003 here. Back in April, we launched a Japanese division, and so the promoter who's brought a group, Yanrico, and then myself over there the last couple of years, he's now the head of Blue Canoe Japan in Tokyo. So we actually have an official Tokyo office, Blue Canoe office.
Nice. Congratulations.
Tom and I, right now, we've been working over the last 6 months, and we're developing it. It's still, it's live and it's there, but we don't have any Japanese bands as of yet, but we're trying to coordinate and trying to figure out how this whole thing's going to work. So anyway, I wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Well, if you're into bossa nova at all, check out the late Toshiro Ono's place, Sasi Perere.
Okay. I think you mentioned that before. I heard you on an interview mention that at some point.
Yeah, Mr. Ono died, sadly. His daughter, Lisa Ono, who, I might say this backwards, she was either born in Japan and raised in Brazil or vice versa. Anyway, she's one of the top, she's probably the top Japanese bossa nova musicians, and she has the top players on her CDs. But since her dad died, Lisa has taken over Sasi Perere, the club.
Okay.
So I don't know if she has time to tour anymore. I mean, honestly, I tried to look up Sasi Perere to figure out what's going on, but it was all in Japanese.
Yeah. Well, I'll
But
get my buddy Tom Noguchi, who's the Blue Canoe partner there. I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got some great players over there.
Oh man, we did a show. There was a jazz trumpet player named Toku, and then he's on Sony Records there. He sat in with us a couple times, and there was another trumpet player, and I'm so sorry his name escapes me right this second. But great guy, great player. I just met him last time I was there. But yeah, the players there are amazing. They're just amazing.
You have a G7 club over there? I wonder. It's been years and years and years and years since
I
I've been.
don't know about that one. Sorry, I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was a jazz club. I mean, they have plenty of little cute
Oh, it's
local jazz clubs.
crazy the clubs they have there. Oh man, yeah.
What's it like when it comes to clubs? I mean, both rock and jazz. What's it like?
Sorry, what is Atlanta like?
Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta.
I mean, I don't know. There's spots. What you got? Churchill Grounds got the jazz thing going on. What else got jazz? Does Twain still do it?
No.
Nope.
The festivals down there?
The Atlanta Jazz Festival is huge.
Yeah, Atlanta Jazz Festival.
And it's the only free one, I think, right?
I believe that's right.
And they put in, yeah, I mean, it's huge. So what is it? A week? 2 weeks long?
It's definitely a weekend.
I thought it was like,
It may go longer than
yeah, I
that.
don't know.
I don't know.
But I mean, there's clubs. It's not like it used to be. I guess I wasn't here when it was really hopping.
Mhm.
But
Oh, I want to congratulate you on your trailer. I never saw a musical group that had their own trailer the way you did it, where it's like you're in the studio and you're writing music and all that. That's really hip.
Well, thanks. And thanks for bringing that up, because we did want to mention, the RockTronix, we have a CD available called Magnificent Obsession that we released last September, actually. But with that, we also released a documentary by the same title called Magnificent Obsession. That trailer you're referring to was a trailer for the documentary. And it's available if you have Amazon or Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now for free. It's on iTunes. It's on Google. It's on a bunch of different places. And actually this month of October, if you have Comcast, you can watch our documentary on demand on Comcast. So look for the RockTronix Magnificent Obsession. And it's like a 45-minute documentary of us in the studio, basically from the, creating the CD.
That's hip. Do other groups do that, or is that just unique in your case? I haven't seen a group do that.
there's been a lot of behind the musics, but when we were doing the record, going back to the point of people don't buy records anymore, and to make some kind of splash or to do something different, we decided to simultaneously do the DVD as we made the movie. As we made the CD. So I think a lot of groups are doing it now. There's a lot of YouTube stuff out there now. People doing it. I don't know if anybody's gone, quite like we did, especially being indie and unknown.
Right.
Like putting a full-on product together.
I think most people that do that have already been kind of established.
Exactly.
I think we did it with the intentions of like, hey, worst case scenarios, we've got some really good YouTube clips.
Right.
Best case scenario, somehow the producer, we can all string this together and make something work. And it's very indie, it's very raw. But I think all in all,
who's the director
tells the
again?
Story. Robert Paul Productions.
Oh.
Bob Carter.
And
there was a guy named Justin Rogers, filmographer, and Jake Goodman, filmographer,
and Joseph Patrick Moore.
And I helped on that. And Frank Willis, Frank Willis. We had several people involved helping with the making of it. But.
Well, explain this in the credits of your documentary, of the trailer. I saw Blue Canoe Records and Blue Canoe Digital. So
that's right.
So is Blue Canoe Digital, is that what is that?
I'll try to make this short. So when Blue Canoe Records started, it was like at the very beginning of 2003. It's like I kind of had all these other ideas. Like if the label was successful and grew, there could be these like other branches that branched off of it that could create other things. So I was like, well, we need like a main company So Blue Canoe Digital LLC is the main company, and then Blue Canoe Records falls under that. And the idea was that other possible companies could fall under the one umbrella of the LLC, which would protect all the companies.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was the idea. So basically, Blue Canoe Digital at this point was, did more of the movie side of, was more involved on the financial of the movie side of it, and also to help protect the whole thing, with the LLC and all that. So.
I got you. Now, I don't know how much it costs to do what you did, but when I saw that, I was thinking, wow, if they could do video type footage of all of the acts or all the musicians on Blue Canoe Records and then have their own Roku channel, that would be way too hip.
It sure would. It's a great idea, Patricia. Can I borrow your checkbook? No, that's a great idea. No, seriously, that's a great idea. It's just, I'll have to
like I said, it's easy to throw around ideas without knowing how much things cost. But
yeah,
people are making movies with iPhones now.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
If you're skillful with iMovie, you really don't need all those highfalutin packages and gigantic cameras and all that stuff. I mean, it can be the do-it-yourself market started in the 80s, right? With Copeland from Stuart Copeland from the Police and all that. But I think it needs to come back around, the do-it-yourself type.
Well, I'm a big Apple fan. We're talking on an Apple Mac right now, and I think they're kind of the company to me that's just at the forefront of all that, because they make so many products that basically do all these things. And I just watched their new event, their new launch a couple weeks ago, and they had their new phone, the 6S. They had, I guess, previously given it out to some famous photographers, and they actually went out and took pictures with the phone.
Oh.
And they said there was no editing involved. And there's a spot in the event where they're showing these pictures, and I mean, it looks like, it's unbelievable. You would swear it was like some $30,000 camera taking it. I mean, it's incredible. So technology is really allowing for people to be creative and to create quality stuff, I guess is my point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put too much work on your already full schedule.
Yeah, bring it on.
It's a good idea.
We got Frank Willis to help.
That's
out.
right, Frank will help.
Yeah, we got some people.
You can get your own Roku channel for free.
You can?
Yeah, all you need is the footage, the programming.
Huh? I have to look into that, Patricia. What do you say, Ryan?
Your own channel. I mean, every musician on your roster can have their own videos and whatnot, and I can imagine photo shoots and just. I mean, like I said, it's all do-it-yourself nowadays.
Yeah.
In fact, you said you're using Periscope now, and for people who don't know what that is, Periscope is the cheapest thing. You go to periscope.tv and follow me at Durham Skywriter. But anyway, it is a live streaming app, and it is hip. I just watched Al Strong. He's a trumpet player here in Durham. He was playing, I think, in Raleigh last night. And I was watching him, and I was sitting like this until 2 a.m, watching him, via Periscope. And if you're already using Periscope, Joseph and Wayne,
we are. The RockTronix are on there. You can follow the RockTronix. And actually, this guy right here, Wayne, turned this on to it 2 days after it came out. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I didn't realize it was that new, but Joseph turned me on to this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like a social media mogul kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he's a big financial backer. And Meerkat, which is another one. There's Periscope and Meerkat both.
okay.
They're duking it out right now. We'll see who wins. But
Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, they're both great. But anyway, I was just like, man, have you heard of this thing? That's crazy. It's like you just start broadcasting and you got 200 people looking at you, checking out, hey, what's going on here? So,
right.
Going back to trying to build an audience, we were like, hey, let's just do that. So whenever we rehearse or something like that, we'll stream something and, shout out, hey, go to our website, check this out, visit that, buy this. So every little bit helps. That's going back to your marketing question too, you know?
And
See, that's the new marketing strategy. It's taking these new tools and trying to be totally radically creative with them.
Yeah, and be on the front end of it too, you know?
Yeah.
exactly. 2 points I want to make about Periscope is that, as you know, when you do Periscope, it's only available for 24 hours and it disappears. All right. But
Yeah.
what I do is I actually import them into iMovie, which is also free.
Yeah.
And then you can upload that to YouTube, and then it's available forever.
That's right.
Smart.
Now I'll plug the Meerkat. Meerkat will do it for you if you hashtag KATCH. It automatically captures it, and save it on a channel, and then you get the link and can, you know, distribute it or whatever you want to do with it. So they do it for you.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's awesome. And if you actually, you know, in your profile, when you're on your smartphone and you're in Periscope, if you add your website using HTTP, you have to use HTTP. You just can't have www. But if you have it with HTTP, then it's clickable and it'll go directly to your website. You can make
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
and you can do periscope.tv/Durham Skywriter or whatever. Is it Blue Canoe?
The RockTronix.
RockTronix. Okay.
RockTronix. Yeah.
So you can do periscope.tv/RockTronix, and people can watch your scopes from their laptops.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
That's cool. To
Bigger
know.
screen and all. That's cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole
The new
thing.
TV.
That whole thing's. I mean, yeah, we're on the cutting edge of something really unbelievable with that.
It's like,
I'm thinking that you musicians have to think of so many ways to
That's right.
stay ahead of the curve, like you just said, and connect directly with your fans, because
right.
the record stores they're practically all gone.
Yeah, they are, Patricia. It's sad. It breaks my heart. But.
Yeah, but you know, thinking about it, it's really kind of cool, like the Periscope thing, because I mean, you kind of do build a relationship, you know, kind of. I mean, it's digital and it's semi-strangers, but if they're interested and they come back, they're kind of a return customer / friend, and there's something special about that versus just going to buy some record somewhere. You know what I mean?
And if they follow you, then you know they're fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then
That's
you
right.
can, at a show, you can go like, oh, hey, I've been watching you on this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, hey, I know you, or whatever. So
Yeah, because after
it's
your
really a
show,
cool thing.
you can do your analytics, see who's following you, and then contact them directly and say, hey, you get a free T-shirt.
There you go.
Smart one.
All the my last 3 concerts or whatever.
That's
right.
right.
Mhm.
Smart.
Yeah, or little promos, you know.
Yeah.
Come see us at the show, and we'll give you this if you're watching. All kinds of interesting things that you could do.
Or if actually, here's the thing. You're a fan, okay, and they're like front and center, right? And then you say, you've got such a wonderful vantage point. If you scope our concert, we'll give you free, whatever.
Brilliant.
That's right.
That's right. Because
That's a whole other audience.
Because see, here's the thing. I mean, it's hard enough to play bass and guitar and drums, but then operate all this electronic stuff and pedals and sound and
Right.
all this
Operate a
stuff.
reality
It's like,
TV
oh yeah,
show.
let's get our phone out now, and now it's just one more thing. It's just like it's psychotic. So you're exactly right. You could have someone right there doing that.
Street team. It's a new street team.
That's right. That's right, dude.
No more flyers. It's Periscope.
The Scope Street Team,
That's right.
sponsored by Durham Skywriter.
There you go.
There you go. You still need the flyers for people who are still very visual,
That's right.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
and for us fogies, because I'm going to be 60 in a couple of months. I like my flyers, I like my brochures, and my
Wait a
posters.
minute. Back that up. You're gonna. I mean, I know you mentioned that earlier. You're 59, but you do not look 60 at all. You look amazing. By the way.
Thank you. I don't smoke, don't drink.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Not that I'm
There's your
saying that's
secret.
bad. I'm not saying that, but
No, I know, understand. There's your secret. And by the way, that painting behind you. What's the story behind those paintings? Those are really nice.
well, thanks for asking. My late cousin, I had a cousin named Randy Stills.
Okay.
Stills. And believe it or not, he's from Georgia,
Ah,
Augusta, Georgia.
nice.
He's
And that's your cousin? I'm sorry, your cousin?
Yeah, so my sister and I visited cousins in Augusta, Georgia, and we were told to pick out two that we liked, and I use them for my backdrop.
I love it.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
Have
love,
you had him on the show?
what'd you say?
Have you had him on your show?
No, actually, he died some years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I had visited my remaining cousins in Augusta, and they invited us to take some of his work home.
I see. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but his spirit lives on, obviously. So,
See, that's the cool thing about music and art. In a way, you live forever.
right.
You know, the rest of us just kind of hope that people don't forget us, you know, after a while. But you musicians and artists, I mean, your legacy just, hopefully you always have a good, positive, strong legacy, and that it'll last just about forever, you know?
Well,
I'm listening to musicians that have died so long ago that, in fact, I enjoy the music of musicians who died before I was even born. And that's saying something.
right.
Really saying something. So.
It sure is.
So you got any shout outs for anybody before we go? Especially we do want to again say hello and good wishes to Chris Blackwell, your guitarist who couldn't make it.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I guess for me, two shout outs would be to Tom Noguchi in Japan and our partner Rush Anderson, who's the sound engineer. And we were in the studio. We should have mentioned we were in the studio about a month ago, and we recorded 3 new songs. So we're going to have a 3-song EP coming out at some point. But we recorded a Rush Anderson, which he's seen in the documentary movie. That was the studio we used on the first CD. So I want to give a shout out to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody got anybody?
Yeah, I'm old Durham, North Carolina peeps.
There you go.
Yay.
They're gone.
That's right, because you lived in North Carolina for a bit.
Yeah. Who else? Chris Berner, Damon Brown, Baron Timus, all those guys.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad to connect you with Baron Timus. He's on, I think, what do they call that? A sabbatical or something?
Yeah, he is. That's right. He's doing his doctorate, I guess.
Okay, so when he comes back, though, I hope that you all can connect, because I know you did want to come up to North Carolina and
Absolutely.
workshops, do some concerts, do some, some back and forth with the students. Because the jazz program at NCCU, North Carolina Central University, is top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear about it a lot here.
Yeah,
yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
Branford right in your backyard.
That's right.
That's no bad deal there.
Branford Marsalis?
Yeah.
He lives in Trayburn, I believe, which is kind of an upscale community in Durham. Yeah. Which means I never see him.
Yeah. He's done well for himself. That's,
He deserves
So what I want you to do after the show is to send me information on what you want me to put in the credits. And if you don't mind telling us some of those items, such as, website and Twitter and Facebook and all that.
We will do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I really appreciate it because
really.
you're the best. And thanks for Wayne for hooking this up too.
Posting it.
Yeah, for getting it all going. And thanks a lot, Patricia. It's been great.
Sure, but tell us, if you don't mind, right now, if you don't mind, your website and your Twitter.
www.therocktronix with an X .com. So rock RockTronix.com, and then
pretty much everything else: Twitter / the RockTronix, Facebook / the RockTronix, Google Plus, Periscope, Meerkat, the RockTronix, Instagram, the RockTronix.
Right.
Pinterest. We're actually on Pinterest, believe it or not.
Wow.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
And I think pretty much it's the RockTronix or RockTronix. You find it. So.
Yeah. Cool.
And check out them if people are interested. Check out the DVD. I think if they start there first and actually see us making the music, you actually hear the music. It might then inspire. It puts a different twist on just listening to the music. It's actually there's stories and
behind it.
Yeah, personalities, and you actually see the making of it, and so it gives a whole other dimension when you actually listen to it. So
yeah.
For me, that's the best part, watching musicians do their thing. Because I remember when I was a kid, my parents took me to The Wiz. And unfortunately for them, our tickets were right by the, what do you call that, orchestra pit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
This is my time like this. I was watching the musicians, you know. I
yeah.
wasn't even that much interested in the show. I was just so fascinated seeing all the musicians working together, you know.
Well, that was Quincy Jones who did all the music, right?
Well, you see, this was in Chicago. I don't know if he traveled to the Chicago show or
But I think he wrote all the music for The Wiz. Quincy was like real involved with that. Anyway, but yeah.
he did the music, but I don't think he was actually present.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think those were Chicago musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call those? I
Music union contracted out.
Yeah, union.
forget. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, fellas, for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, so very much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we'll be talking real soon because I'd like to get some more Blue Canoe artists here on TV Skywriter. My interview with Shinwa Hawk was awesome.
Good.
And I'd like to interview more because you have the most wonderful musicians on your label. Seriously.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate the support. We really, really do. And hopefully, eventually, like I said, we can get to Durham and meet. You know, have coffee. I'll buy you dinner. We'll hang out. And
There you go.
maybe do some shows. And
Do a live show there.
do a live show. Hey, why don't we just do a live show from your place?
Awesome. Oh my God.
No more streaming. We'll just be live from Patricia's place,
That would actually be here.
wouldn't it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I know Shinwa would be up for it. You know, sitting down with an acoustic guitar and vocals, that would be pretty amazing too.
That
We'll
would-
have to see what we can come up with on that. We'll have to work on that. So
And do me a favor, hold up your CD to the camera.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
okay, well, this is the DVD. That's the cover.
Boo. Okay.
See if I can find it. There we go.
Yeah,
Booyah.
In the back.
yeah, and the back of the DVD. I don't know if you can see it. But basically, the DVD is also a video on demand. Like I said, you know, you can order the DVD, but you can stream it right now on any of the number of places. So
Love it. I hope the next time we talk, you'll have looked into getting your own Roku channel.
I'll.
That's crazy. That's a great idea. It really is.
Because, you know, a lot
It's a
of,
big undertaking.
That's a big undertaking. Frank can handle it.
Frank's good at that.
yeah, a lot of those things are just put together by ordinary citizens. You know, yeah.
It's almost like public access now, right? It's kind of like
Kind
Like
of. It's kind of like public access, but
how to. I mean,
as long as you have product, you can do it.
Now, have you thought about putting the Durham Skywriter on Roku?
Yes, I'm looking into it.
Okay, nice.
Don't have anything
I
yet.
see that smile there. You got some things you don't want to say right now. Okay,
Just to say I'm looking into it.
okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for the tip on that.
yeah, very much.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, that's TV Skywriter. If you'd like to be a guest, all you have to do is to write to me, Durham, Skywriter at gmail.com. And it's called the Durham Skywriter, or rather TV Skywriter, named after the Durham Skywriter. It's my online trading paper for Durham, North Carolina. You can read that at durhamskywriter.com. With that, good evening. See you, folks. He's Wayne Viner. Those are more. And a special hello to Chris Blackwell who couldn't make it. See you
Absolutely.
later.
See
Thanks.
ya.
See you later,
Bye-bye.
Pat.
Ciao.